Hi everyone, John here from the Watchman's Mantle. This is another Take Five Friday. I had mentioned a verse and I didn't want to kind of butchered the verse because I wasn't looking at it, I wasn't quoting it directly and stuff. It was just kind of came to mind. As I was looking at Philippians 4:8. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, and going through that. But anyway, so I'm going to take a look at 2 Corinthians chapter 10. I'm going to start in verse 4. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations, and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Every thought. And it's such a powerful thing to really think about. I don't know the exact wording of it, but there's this one guy that talks about it. But a lot of people don't think about what they're thinking about. Now think about that. And I know that's a little kind of tongue in cheek, but if I'm worried about, oh, how am I going to pay this bill, and where's the money going to come from, and God, how are you going to do this? I'm consuming myself with thoughts that aren't true and honest and just and lovely and pure and those things like it talks about in Philippians chapter 4:8. But even this, I'm not bringing those thoughts into captivity to, bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. If I'm worried, I'm not trusting God. Are there things that can get us, when we get scared, when we get worried, when we get consumed by something, well, that's when we cast our cares on Him. That's when we first and foremost, we don't get to that point. We don't let it get to where it's all consuming. We're bringing into captivity every thought. Now listen, and I am preaching to myself here. Because there's many times when I don't do that. But this is what the Bible's telling us that we should be doing. And why is that? It's because our thoughts, you think about, your imagination runs wild. It talks about in Genesis that their imaginations were only evil continually. Continually? Our thoughts can run away. We can daydream. We can think about all these different things. We need to have that check on our minds. Another verse that you're thinking about, and I'll just turn there real quick before this video's over. But if I can find it quick enough. Romans chapter 12. This is what I'm going to close with. Romans chapter 12 and Romans chapter 12, and I'm going to start in verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. So we're bringing every thought into the captivity of the knowledge of Christ. We're renewing our minds. We're thinking on the things like it talks about in Philippians chapter 4:8. There's so many things. We're casting our cares on Him, for because He careth for us. It's a constant, moment by moment, thought by thought walk that we're doing with the Lord. And if we find that we're becoming all consumed with something, well, then we need to step back and say, oh, you know what? Hang on a second. I'm not going to be consumed with that thought anymore. I'm bringing that thought into captivity. I'm casting that care on the Lord. I'm not going to stress and worry about these things. I'm going to think on the good things, the honest things, the pure things, the lovely things. I mean, you think about it, and like it talked about there in Corinthians, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. We are using God's word to get control of our physical, you know, our minds, our hearts, so that we then walk according to His word and walking in the Spirit. So, is it easy? It is if we're submitted to Him, but it's a moment by moment thing. So what are you thinking about today? Have you thought about that? This is John with WATCHMAN'S. I'll see you on the next video.